Admit all.
Assalamu alaikum jami'an. Good evening, everyone.
Hello, alaikum assalam. How are you, Omar?
Alhamdulillah بخير. كيف حالك كوتش سهير؟ كلكم
أنا
والجميع
الحمد
طيب إن شاء الله.
لله تمام. أهلا وسهلا بالجميع. Welcome everyone. We will start in like 3-4 minutes. We're just giving time for people to join in. How are you doing? شو أخباركم? So today's session will be in English and I will be translating in the chat room. وعليكم السلام. أهلين أستاذ رائد. أهلين دينا. وعليكم السلام.
أهلا فيكي، كيف حالك؟
أنا الحمد لله تمام التمام.
الحمد
أنتوا
لله.
طمنوني عنكم.
الحمد لله أنا بخير.
الحمد لله الحمد لله. So we will be starting in a few minutes. Yeah. We're excited too. Karen has some really interesting webinar for us today.
Thank you, Suhaib.
Yeah, good evening, Hanadi.
I'm loving the avatar for Lena. Lena, that's a great image.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that?
Thank you. I will share with you the link.
Yes,
link.
please do. Please.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Welcome, everybody. We will be starting in a few minutes. We're just chatting and waiting for everybody to join in. We'll be starting in 2 minutes. So how has it been for you for the past week or 2 weeks? When was the last time we had a webinar? I don't remember. So احكولي. We will be translating. هنتكلم عربي في الchat. Karen will be speaking in English and I will be translating in the chat. أنا هكون معاكم بترجم في الchat. Okay, I will be translating into Arabic. Welcome everyone. I see new faces. Yay.
Yay is right.
Yay. Some new
Excellent.
faces joining in for the first time today.
And what I love are those of you who are on camera. Because this is all about managing presence. So let's be present. Let's be fully present. Yay. Thank you. Thank you for showing your lovely faces. Awesome.
Yes. Thank you, Omar. Thank you, Salt. Thank you, Shireen. Thank you, Haitham. Thank you, Yasmin. Show your faces. Be present. Be vulnerable. Vulnerability is power. Come on. Yay, Mariam. Hi, Mariam. Kifik.
And Beam Light. I like your name, Beam Light. That's
Beam Light. Yeah, it caught my eye too. I was about to ask. She was the first one in the chat room, actually.
Yes, exactly.
In the waiting room. Right. Yeah.
So while everyone is gathering, could you put in the chat, where are you at? Where are you presently, physically present? Where are you joining us from?
Yeah, اكتبوا لنا في الشات انتم من وين؟ من أي مدينة؟ من أي دولة؟ من وين داخلين؟ Washington DC. Wow, Riyadh. Qatar. Germany. Wow. Wow. Saudi Arabia. Jeddah. I'm in Nada District, Riyadh. Oh, that's you, Karen. I'm in Riyadh too. Yeah. We have international audience today.
27
My home. I love that. Jeddah, Mecca, Riyadh. Hello everyone. أهلا بالجميع. اكتبوا لنا من أي مدينة أنتوا موجودين حاليا، من وين جايين.
Qatar, Germany, DC. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Can you help me with the Arabic there, Suhaib?
Yeah, جدة. And
Jeddah, thank
سؤال
you.
تاني, another question. Who's a coach here and who's thinking about joining or to be a coach? If you're a coach, type 1. If you're thinking about being a coach, type 2. If you're here interested about coaching, to know more about coaching. Oh, wow.
Wow, look at all these coaches. Awesome.
Oh,
We're going to have some
yes.
great.
Yes,
All
yes,
right.
yes. Great conversation. Okay, so 3 minutes passed. First of all, أنا بعرف على نفسي. I will introduce myself. My name is Suhair Al-Haj. I am a PCC coach currently in Riyadh. أنا موجودة في الرياض حاليا و I will be facilitating today. Hi, Mariam. Thank you. I will be assisting Karen today by translating, and I'm also facilitating or leading the committee for competencies in the Saudi chapter. We started this committee like I don't know how many months ago. We do webinars about the competencies in both Arabic and English. Today we are talking about the fifth competency. ترجمة على السريع. سهير الحاج PCC coach في السعودية حاليا. عضو في لجنة الجدارات التابعة للشابتر السعودي. And yeah, ابتدينا 5 months ago. Thank you, Suha. ابتدينا من 5 شهور تقريبا to make webinars, ان احنا نعمل webinars على competencies. اليوم رح نتكلم عن الجدارة الخامسة ألا وهي الحضور. كيف تحافظ على حضورك أثناء الجلسة ككوتش. And today, without further ado, Karen will be presenting herself and starting the webinar. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Suha, for that introduction. Haytham, thank you for all your behind the support. Why don't you come off mic and just introduce yourself, because you're such a critical person in our chapter and in our global representation. So Haytham.
هيثم الجندي المجهول من الشابتر السعودي اللي دائما بيساعدنا وهو اللي بيفاسيليتيت بيرتب لنا موضوع الشابترز الويبينارز. Thank you, هيثم. تفضل.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Karen, and thank you, Suhair, for giving me this chance. It's my honor to present the Saudi chapter in these valuable sessions. We care about our development, for continuous development, not only for the chapter members, for all the team. My name is Haytham Al-Masri. I'm an ACC. I'm the Director of Community and Knowledge in Saudi chapter and Ambassador for the Health and Wellness Community of Practice in the Global Community of Practice. And here I am, as long as you mentioned that Gundi Maghul, so I'm the backstage supporting and facilitation the experience for Karen. It's my honor to learn from you, Karen, today. And all
thank
the
you.
best.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You.
So welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. And I'm so excited about, I say co-presenting because many of you said you're coaches. So we're going to learn from one another. And we're going to learn from our own experiences, what worked, what didn't, the mistakes, because I don't know about you, but as a coach, a lot of my learning has come from my own mistakes. And I am somebody who has definitely been triggered. And so this is why I love this competency. So let me just tell you a little bit about me for those of you who don't know. I know this is a lot of words on this slide. Highlights, I'm a PCC coach. I've actually been coaching since the early 90s, but I only did my formal training starting in 2016. I was in Saudi at that time in 2016, and I went through the training in Dubai. So I went through my coach training with a very international, diverse cohort, which was so rich. And I believe to this day is what makes me a really good coach, is because I was with 30 other people. We were representing 15 different nationalities from the region, outside the region. And for those of you whose English is not your first language, my hat is off to you, because I think it's challenging enough to learn about coaching and then to learn it through not your native language. So I am just so respectful of people who coach in either Arabic or in English, but they had to maybe learn English because most of the coach training, at least back in 2016, was in Arabic and was in English. So really highlight, I started my coaching professional career at Saudi Aramco. I was coaching the top leaders in transition and succession planning. So they would go through assessments, help develop coaching plans. I did that for several years. Then I left Aramco and I went to Oman, and I started the first executive coaching office in another oil and gas company, coaching the top 150 leaders. And what was beautiful about that experience is that the CEO wanted me to come in and to help coaches develop a growth mindset. It wasn't tied to any assessment. So it was so whatever people came to, wanting to be better leaders, better human beings. It was an amazing experience. And then, of course, COVID hit, and I was in lockdown in Oman for 4 months. And part of my journey of learning how to deal with my triggers is how to still be in a country when my contract was over. I had no work, but I couldn't leave. And I was still trying to start my coaching practice. So I'm going to share with you some of those insights as well. So that's about me. What I would like for you to do in the chat right now is, before we go through the learning objectives, is why are you here tonight? Are you here for the the CCEU credits? What motivated you to sign up for today's webinar? Thank you, Dr. Haifa. To learn, yeah, interesting. Great. And Sol, have I met you before? You look really familiar. Do I know you? No? Okay.
Hi, Karen. Are you talking to me? Sorry.
No, I was talking to Sol, who in my image is right above you, Soha.
Okay, no problem. When someone says Suhair or Sol, it all sounds like Soha.
Yes,
so I have to make sure.
Yes. Shireen says being aware of triggers, especially working with parents of teens. Yes, yes, excellent. And I have to say my big mentors have been Dr. Philippe Rosinski, who does the global coaching. And you can see in my screen, the book behind me is Global Coaching and Coaching Across Cultures. So I am certified in his program and his cultural orientation framework, which is another tool to help me be present, especially as a white Western expat coach. And the majority of my clients are Arab males, to be quite honest. So it's very interesting. And another way to ground me. And then my other major coach that I've really studied with is Shirzad Shameen of Positive Intelligence. So how many of you, if you could put in the chat, have done the Positive Intelligence program, the PQ program, just so I can, what kind of impact was on males? I'm going to tell you about that. Yes. Oh, Omar, you're doing it now. Excellent. Excellent. Currently registered. Great, Soha. Great. Good. All right. So again, this is a deep dive into the 5th competency. And I have the links. As you know, they're both in English and Arabic. Actually, they're in several other languages. I know there's somebody here from Germany. I believe the core competencies are also in German, translated as well. Am I correct about that, Hatham? I think that's right. So here is what the competency says. And I am going to read this because part of what my goal is to model this. And as coaches, you know, we also hold each other accountable. And part of coaching is challenging. So I want you to call me out if I'm not doing any of these, because I'm here to model this. And even though I forgot to mention, I'm also a mentor coach, there's still learning to be done. So remaining focused, observant, empathetic, and responsive to the client. Right now, you're all my client as learners in this virtual space. Demonstrating curiosity. So that's why we started off with these questions, because I'm curious, who's here? Why are you here? What made you come and give up your time to come? Managing our emotions to stay present with the client. That is the key part of this core competency. And demonstrating confidence when working with strong client emotions. So maybe they don't even realize that you as coach are struggling with being confident, but you're able to project that. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And as coaches, especially as a PCC coach, and do we have anybody here who's an MCC coach? Anybody here MCC? As you know, being comfortable in a space of not knowing, because we're not about having the answers, giving the answers. It's about holding that space of not knowing. And of course, maintaining silence, pause, and reflection. And we are going to do some reflection in this webinar. So I'm going to invite you all again, those of you who aren't yet on camera, I'm going to prod you and challenge you to please come on camera, because it's all about maintaining our presence. And guess what? As coaches, we just get to show up as our authentic self. So I don't care what you're wearing, you know, if you're comfortable clothes, if you're not dressed for a professional webinar, you know, yes, it's being recorded, but show up, be present, because we want to see your eyeballs. Especially in a webinar, I want to see each of your eyeballs to really connect. So again, this is the Arabic version, which is again taken right from the PDF from the website, ICF website. So we're going to share real examples. And I'd love to hear from you. I have my examples, and I'm sure some of you have yours. Again, demonstrating a coaching space that allows for silence, pauses, and reflection. Sharing lessons learned from our own coaching practice. Commit to a call of action. I'll always remember my very first mentor coach who reminded me that a coaching session without a call to action was just a great conversation. But we're more about having just great conversations. We're about helping our clients move, not only from A to Z, but to be transformed in the process. So we're going to do our own commitment to a call of action, to take our own accountability, including myself. So we're going to release this poll, and Hatham is going to help me with this poll from his end. This is what it says, but we're going to give you a chance to use the actual poll and use it anonymously to answer the questions. And there it is. So we have 38 people. Again, your responses are totally anonymous. And We'll allow people here to have a chance to answer them. We actually have 40 people on the call. This is a great turnout, especially for those of you who are in the Gulf region where it is a Saturday night before the workday starts tomorrow. I guess unless you're in the UAE, it doesn't start until Monday. Great. Got 79 participants, 79%. Can we get a few more? Again, it's anonymous, so you get a chance to be vulnerable. And I can't wait to hear from those of you who are strong in this area. Where's the poll link? Russia is saying, is it not showing up? Do you not see the link? There we go. Russia doesn't see the link, Suhad or Haitham. Is there a way to help her out? Got 88%. We're just going to give it a couple more seconds. Click on more. Do you see it now, Russia? 91%. Let's get 95%. We're at 94. And 34 out of 36. That's excellent. Okay. Last call. I'm going to end the poll. Share results. So does everybody see that? So that's excellent. 56% of you saying you're very strong in this area. 38% need to develop it. Usually are pretty good at it. And yeah, there's 2 of you who say you need to develop the skill. So thanks for being honest about this. What surprises you, if anything, from this poll, from this response? Feel free to unmute yourself. Yes, Yasmin.
Yeah, hi everyone. I feel like that there's a trigger. Yani we are humans at the end of the road. At some point, we get triggered. We cannot like escape from triggers.
Yes.
But here we learn and we train ourselves how to deal with this trigger and leave our agenda aside and keep ourselves with the client's agenda.
Yes, yes. Yes, that is so true. And here's some of the challenges. I can speak for myself. So I am I think you can tell it in my face. I'm a very expressive person. Who else here? Raise your hand if your facial expressions are, yes, you're expressive. And for those of us who are expressive with our face, it can be even more challenging when we're triggered with the client, right? So you'll all appreciate this, especially my Arab brothers and sisters on this call. The very first time I was coaching an Arab man, and he references his second wife. I was not prepared for that. I should have been prepared. I had been in the region for several years, and I'm sure my face went like, oh yeah, your second wife. Okay. Just seconds where I realized I was not managing my emotions. It was all over my face. Now, luckily, I had built up a rapport with this client. I had been seeing him for a while. He didn't miss a beat on his end, but I remember when I did my self-reflection after that session, thinking, okay, I need to work on this. What are other things in the culture that are different from mine that could cause me to be triggered? So let me ask you, and you can write this in the chat, how many of you do take a moment or two to do self-reflection after each coaching session? Sometimes, always. Yeah, I see a couple hands up. Does somebody want to comment on this as well?
I can get into a loop of how it could have been done better, but then I have to end this reflection session with, I know I did my best.
Yeah, exactly. Was that Miriam who was speaking?
Yep.
Who was speaking? Yes, Miriam. Yeah, we all do our best, right? And I always tell my clients whom I'm mentoring, our clients don't know what we know. They don't know what the core competencies are. They're not checking the box. Oh, Karen, you missed this one. They just want to come away with having some insight. They want to be able to feel heard, listened to. So we know that we're doing the best. But how do I know that I'm doing the correct reflection? Rasha, do you want to speak a little bit more about that? What do you mean by a correct reflection?
I mean that I have like a checklist to check if I ask powerful questions, if I ask more closed questions than the opened one, if I listen to the client properly. But still, I think that there is more to do to reflect on my session and make sure that my practice was professional and a good one. That's why I'm telling that maybe this way, why we need always a mentor or someone to reflect after our session and to practice with anyone out of the clients, anyone peer coaching to know if my practice, if there is any area of improvement.
Exactly. Excellent. Thank you for expounding on that. So I heard a couple things, Rasha. I heard that you already have a checklist. Since all of you are experts, I can share my ideas as well, especially as a mentor coach. But who else would like to speak up and maybe add what else do you do for your reflection besides having a checklist that has really supported you, especially around if you were triggered in the session, how you do a self-reflection?
I do journaling.
Two people raise their hand. Excellent.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm trying to see who first raised their hand.
Yasmin. تفضلي Yasmin.
Okay.
Yasmin raised two hands actually.
Oh, okay. Oh, and
Okay.
Soha raised the other one. Thank you.
To be honest, I don't rarely to do self-reflection because especially when I record the session, because the judgment definitely will come on the table. And when we start judging ourselves, this will put us down like somebody is judging us. Imagine that somebody is judging you the whole 45 minutes. So how could you feel? This is alone, this is a trigger for you that you start self-talking that I'm not enough well, I'm not good enough, I'm not a good coach. So what I do is that I make self-reflection in my mind. I don't go and listen to I haven't ever listened to any session of mine, only when I make transcription. This is the only time I listen to my sessions because I know that I'll be judging myself. Judging myself will cause a trigger for me, and I don't want to put any stress and anxiety on myself. That's it.
Thank
And
you.
definitely, I agree with Rasha that, yeah, at many points, not only some points, we need a mentor every now and then to know where are the areas that we have to improve. Yes. To know where we are doing very good, where are some areas that maybe we don't know that we are not doing it good or well. Yeah, I agree on this point.
Yes. Yasmin, thank you for sharing so openly and honestly. Can I offer another perspective? So if you remove the word judge and you substitute it for discernment, would that feel different for you?
To be honest, I trained myself that, and I learned from my trainer and mentor that what has passed has passed. So we take the learning and move on, because if we want to stay in the same session and repeating and trying to find what are our developmental opportunities, we will stay in the same place. So instead, I talk to my brain and say, okay, what has passed has passed. At that time, I did what I did. Even when somebody is watching, or like, let's say, watching the demo of mine, I've also learned that even when they give feedback, this is the feedback in their opinion, but if they were at the same moment putting themselves, maybe they have done many mistakes. I don't want to say many mistakes, many developmental opportunities. So it's not about what has happened, because what happened has happened. So I take it, I view it in my mind, and I move on. And this way, it worked for me. It might not work with others. And because it worked with me, it has made me what I am now, who I am now, not what I am now. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I just want to respond to a question in the chat about what does discernment mean? So judge is a way that our inner critics beat us up, that do trigger us. And as we know, another competency, which is not one of our focus today, is to have a growth mindset as a coach, which means we always are continuously learning. So the purpose of a self-reflection after each coaching session, even if it's just 60 seconds, 1 minute, is to say, this is one thing I did really well. And this is something that I want to focus on next time, either with this client or another client, just to improve myself as a coach. And that's what we mean by discernment. We're looking at ourselves, maybe that checklist that Rasha said. And I am big on checklists. I tend to even take the checklist that I had in my own PCC certification and just kind of go through it. I knew what my areas of development were. That's one way to do it. But you are absolutely right about peer coaching and mentoring coaching, giving you another perspective. So I would invite you to put on your discernment hat. Take off your judge hat and put on your discernment hat to say, what's one thing that I might be able to do differently? Now I want to go to Soha, who also had their hand up when I asked the original question about the reflection.
Thank you, Karen. Actually, I do the same like Yasmin. I listen to the recordings, and I've been doing this lately after asking the clients their permission to record. So I go back to the recordings. In the beginning, I used to judge myself a lot, and I don't like my voice. I don't like the way I'm talking. But then I found it a good opportunity to grow and develop. And that was my way of reflection.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Thank you for sharing. Who else would like to share?
Can I?
Yes, Dr. Haifa, go ahead.
Thank you. I found a better way for myself to ask my clients their feedback. So I usually give them like a small of a card, a small card, like a business card, and I ask them to record or to write down what are the things that they need to be empowered or they need to be amended. Okay, what are the things that they found that are not right from me to ask? And what are the things that they like most about the session? So I find like this is kind of feedback that might promote me, might encourage me to do better with my clients. So one way.
Thank you, Dr. Haifa.
Thank you.
May I offer a different perspective?
Yeah, of course.
So
the floor is yours.
well, it's just perspective. So I absolutely think we want to ask our clients to evaluate us. Absolutely. Here is the feedback I received from my mentor coach. Because in the beginning, I would ask that after every coaching session. Like, what did you like that I did? What didn't you like? And this MCC coach reminded me when I asked that question, it was all about me. It was no longer about the client. We're there to service the client. So now I ask questions saying, you know, what was your key takeaway? What was the highlight of this coaching session? What are you coming away with that has the most richness? Because it's reflecting back on them. And sometimes I'm totally surprised by what they said. It's not what I would have thought it was. And then, yes, I do, in my co-design of my alliance with them, I definitely will say at some point, I'm going to ask you to evaluate me. When I worked internally as an internal coach, we would have these periodic, about every 6 months, ask our clients to evaluate us. I do the same with my individual clients after each coaching engagement. But I have now shifted to asking that. Now, the one exception is if you are, if you're a newer coach and maybe you're still developing your hours to become ACC, and some of these coaching clients are pro bono for no pay, then hey, that's a different kind of exchange. So I think that's really good. Heba says, I usually ask them, just need to get back up here again. What did you learn about yourself today? That's another great question. Excellent. Excellent. All right. So, so what are, whoops, let me go back. So what are the ways in which before the coaching session that you ground yourself for the coaching session? Especially those of us who have a very expressive face or facial expressions. What are some of the things that you do to ground yourself? So if you can put that in the chat. Oh, light a candle, meditation and grounding, music, breathing, revise my intention, deep breathing, perfume. I pray, I meditate, going for a walk, making sure the environment is quiet. Try to clear my mind to be fully present in the moment. This is excellent. So clean my office. Good, Dr. Haifa, because we know a clear space helps us with our clear mind. So great. So for those of you who said you did all these things, light a candle, music, prayer, meditation, how many minutes do you do that before that coaching session? Wow, good. Excellent. 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10. Excellent. 15. What I love about this is the level of intentionality. I avoid back-to-back sessions. Exactly, Omar. I was going to share that this was one of my big learnings when I first started coaching at Aramco, and we had back-to-back sessions. I didn't even have a chance to really breathe. I didn't realize how important it was. I just thought it was all about coach, coach, coach. And look at this. I'm so impressed with what you're all doing. Relight the candle before each new client. It's just that intentionality, Shireen. Excellent. Excellent. So if you would permit me, I'd like to do a couple grounding exercises with you right now. And for those of you who have gone through the Positive Intelligence program or you're in it right now, I'm going to invite you to do a PQ rep with me. And some of you will know what that means. Some of you may not. For those of you who aren't familiar with PQ or Positive Intelligence, there are really many mindfulness practices based on NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And so we call them PQ reps in the Positive Intelligence vernacular, but really they're all about getting ourselves grounded. So I'm gonna do two of them. So the first one, I'm going to invite you, if you're comfortable, because you're always at choice, just like coaching, it's always at choice for our clients, to close your eyes. I'm going to close mine. And I'm going to ask you, we're going to rub the two fingers together, your thumb and your forefinger. And I'm going to invite you to slowly rub them together, very slowly. Such intention and such attention that you can feel the ridges in your finger or your thumb. And while you're doing that, notice your breath. Notice if you're breathing from your chest or your belly. And just notice the sensation in your body. What are you feeling? And where are you feeling it? And when you're ready, you can come back, open up your eyes, and come back to being present. I'd like to share what that was like for them. Maybe put in the chat, how are you feeling right now compared to just a minute ago? Yes. Calming, immediate calm. Yes. So this has been, it's like disconnecting, clear vision. Yeah, found areas of tension in your hands, so you notice something you hadn't noticed before. So what I love about this is it's something that if all of a sudden I didn't have that 10 minutes or 5 minutes to do my typical grounding exercise, something happened, I got a last minute email, phone call, the client, whatever, it's something I can go to. It's my go-to grounding activity to ground me so I can be fully present with my client. Deeper breath. Yeah. And here's the thing, even when you're in the coaching session, you can still be doing this with your eyes open, out of the view of the client if you're on a virtual session, or if you're in person with them, you can even put it on your knees, on your legs. You can put it underneath the table if you're in front of the person. So you can continue to do this, even if the client's not aware, if you haven't introduced a PQ to them, they don't know what that is. So it's a way for you to get grounded before the session and during the session for yourself. So that's what I like to do in terms of the grounding. And now I invited several of you to bring something to drink to this webinar. So whether you have a hot tea, coffee, a glass of water, if you don't have one, let's just imagine one. So this is what I've done with clients that I have not yet introduced PQ to them. And I just want them to be in a calm space. And maybe for them, mindfulness is something they don't really totally get. They haven't experienced it. And so it's a way for us to, together as coach and client, practice a way to get calm. So some of you may already know this. It may not be a brand new practice, but I'm going to invite you with your cup in your hand or your imaginary cup in your hand. And I would ask the client to do this as well and say, I want you to be mindful of all of the sensations associated with taking a sip of whatever liquid you have. So bringing the cup to your mouth, pausing for a moment, feeling the actual cup or water bottle on your lips, and notice what the temperature is. Notice what the texture is. And then as you take that sip, notice the aroma. Notice the aroma. Is it bitter? Is it sweet? Maybe there's no aroma at all. Notice how your hands are holding the cup or the glass. Notice the temperature. And then notice what the liquid feels like in your mouth. Bring awareness to where in your mouth it feels. And as you swallow, and then notice the next urge you have to take a drink. So I just did this in under 1 minute. What did you notice from doing this practice? How many of you said, oh, that felt really weird? I wouldn't do this with a client. Yeah, slow the pace. What did you notice what did you notice about my voice as I was doing this? Yep, depends on the client. In a moment. The tone. Thank you, Dr. Haifa. Ah, yes, Shireen, you're right. It is a really good practice with ADHD clients. A quieter pace. Excellent, Miriam. Yes, mindfulness eating. Absolutely. Absolutely. I have to tell you, the first time I did this with an executive, I was really nervous. I thought, okay, they're coming in here. They want to talk about their KPIs, their OKRs. You know, they have to prepare this big meeting with the board, and I'm going to go through this process. I'll be honest, I had the butterflies going on. It was a bit of a risk. And And I just, you know, as coaches, we are there in service of our client. And this client came in and they were just, their energy was just all over the place. And I said, I don't care if it's going to feel weird for me or maybe for him. I'm doing it in service of him. And the response was amazing. It was just amazing. He's like, oh my gosh, thank you. I don't think I've had a breath all day. Sometimes that's all we give to our clients is give them a chance to pause, breathe, and reflect. So they can really be in that space. And I have to tell you, it was one of the richest sessions I had with that client. And so now people who work with me, clients who work with me, they know we're going to start by doing a grounding ritual, whether it's a PQ exercise, whether it's just take a moment. Really, that was 1 minute. For those of you who are, 45 minutes, an hour coaching session, that's 1 minute to get them into a calmer space. And you're right, even drinking a glass of water. So this is something else. How many of you have ever done walking coaching while walking? Yeah, Lena raised her hand. Anybody else? Yes, Shireen? Yeah. What was that experience like for you? Anybody want to share?
It was a nice and spontaneous session. Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah. So, there's actually neuroscience that supports the walking and the coaching. And it's really that whole idea of getting some really creative, especially if I'm working with a client, they really want to brainstorm some ideas, that the kinesthetic of the walking. And we're both pointing to this, in the same direction. We're walking together. So we're really co-creating the moment and the relationship. And for those of you who work with metaphors, you're walking around, there's just lots of images to be used as a metaphor. And then this particular slide is from an actual silent walking that I challenged my client. It was part of a group coaching. And I asked them all to take a walk in total silence. That was a real stretch for them. They walked together without talking. And this was part of, it was coaching built into this 3-day offsite retreat. And afterwards, one of the leaders who is from Singapore, and it's just significant because he said, I live in Singapore, which for those of you who have ever been to Singapore, it's a very small island, very compact, densely populated. He said, there's constant noise. He said, I've never spent 20 minutes walking outside in silence without hearing anything. He said it was the most profound experience he had. I thought, wow, what a gift we can give our clients when we take them out of their comfort zone into another space that they never had before. So I guess I'm suggesting try something new and different. And then, yes, when you ask them for evaluation, they'll say, Karen, that really didn't land, or I really loved this, do more of this. And they'll usually tell us. Because you're right, silence is so interesting. So what happens when you're not grounded? I'm going to invite you to think about the experience that you had in a coaching session or prior to a coaching session, putting on your discernment hat, not putting on your judge hat, putting on your discernment hat and thinking about what was the session where you were least grounded and what happened? What happened to you? What happened to the client? What happened to the coaching session? Is anyone willing to share? I'm going to share something really, yeah, not fully present, very distracted. Yeah, you weren't all there. You know, we're humans. We may be coaches. We've had all this training. Yeah, you're confused. You might have just gotten a phone call, a personal phone call. Someone, you know, was hurt. Family member was injured, preoccupied, not sure where to start. Exactly. I talked about myself, too much information. Good one, Kim. Nice to see you, Kim. Thanks for being here. Wasn't focused, confused. So let me share with you a real situation. This is the result after I was not grounded. Yes, Miriam, not matching clients' energy. So I was with a client and I was about to meet this client. It was an executive, it was a CEO. And he had called for the session and he wanted specific feedback. He requested specific feedback. And I was so nervous about giving him this tough feedback in a way that he would really hear it. And I hadn't spent a whole lot of time with him, so I wasn't really sure. So I was finding myself really nervous. So the first thing I did is what I didn't do is I didn't do any grounding exercises ahead of time. The second thing I did, which I now know about myself, is I drank another cup of coffee right before I went to see him. So I was even more agitated and hyped up, which for my personality, I should have had some like green, quiet chamomile tea, not another cup of coffee. So I was so nervous and I had to go up these stairs and I'm running up these stairs and I actually fell down. And I had a huge cut. This is in the workplace. I had blood all over my knee. I tore my leggings, my pants, my suit that I was wearing. And I was like, but I got to go to this coaching session. He's expecting me. And I go into the CEO's office and I'm trying to hide that I'm bleeding down on my legs and trying to have a coaching session. I share this with you because, you know, as a coach, as a professional coach, it was a time, it was like the worst example that one can do as a coach. And yet I learned so much from that experience. And of course, he was all about taking care of me. Oh my gosh, go to the clinic, go take care of yourself. And I did, and I still delivered the feedback. I was able to turn it around. It wasn't my finest, greatest coaching session. And I rose above the moment. And the biggest challenge was not, as Yasmin has said earlier, about judging ourselves. It wasn't about beating myself up. It was really about what's the lesson? How can I prevent this in the future? And my knee ended up by needing stitches. I had to take a couple days off of work. I mean, it was a domino effect by not being grounded, not being confident. So if we go back to this core competency, it's about how are we confident? And if I didn't think I was confident to give the CEO this feedback that he requested, what could I have done to build up my confidence? What are some of your ideas that you would have coached me on doing to gain my confidence so I could have been grounded for this client when I wasn't? What are your ideas? Feel free to raise your hand. You can go into the chat if you like, or raise your hand. I'd love to hear your ideas. Reschedule. Yeah, exactly. Reschedule, Miriam. It's exactly a great experience about lack of presence. Exactly, Dima. What would I tell my best friend? How could I have had that confidence? Yeah. You know, the challenge is often coaching is such an isolated experience, right? We don't have like, you know, a speed dial friend just call saying, help me right now. I'm going into a session and I'm feeling a little, you know, I'm not feeling my confident self. What was the biggest fear around doing PQ reps and grounding? Recognize the saboteurs. Yes. Yes, always think of the client's needs. So I share this vulnerable story. It's pretty embarrassing. I'm PCC, mentor coach, coaching executives. I'm glad I'm in a safe space with other coaches because we're human. We make mistakes. I mean, if this had been a recorded session, I would not have passed my credential, right? I just say this because of the learning. So every time we do something that's not in our client's best interest and we're not grounded, it's what can we learn? How will that grow us as a coach? Push the session away for 30 minutes and meditate. Yes, Ahmad. Not embarrassing exactly like we are, we're humans. Yes, definitely. So this brings me to a question that I really want to get to the meat of. Because as you know, this session's going to go for another half an hour. So I've been warming you up to be sharing. And here is what often triggers us, is that when we're with a client that is disclosing something to us, sharing something that is against our core values, or in this culture, again, the work that I'm mainly doing with Arab men, it is haram. And how do you, as a coach, work with a client when or if they disclose something to you that is either haram for you? For those of you who aren't, yes, what is haram? I shouldn't explain as a non-Muslim. I'll ask Suhad or Haytham, can you please give a more, a better definition? Yes, against your religious beliefs. It's forbidden. It's in the Quran or it's a hadith. Yes. And sometimes the client is going to disclose something that might not even be haram, but it's against your core values. I remember when I was in my coach training, And my mentor coach says, so who can't you be with, Karen? Can't you coach? And I said, oh, I never could coach Trump. I could never coach Donald Trump. Now, this is, I know, getting into politics, right? I'm like, forget it. No way. The guy's not coachable. I won't have any patience with him. Can't coach him. And he pushed back and said, what is it about you that says you can't coach him? What are you afraid of looking at? Wow. That was a big question for me. So I'm going to ask for some examples of scenarios, things that a client has said that really pushed you to say, can I really work with this client? Are they my metaphorical Donald Trump in my head? So can I hear some examples of clients who, yeah, Miriam, something I hate about myself, right? So what I hate about Donald Trump is when he's arrogant. So there's a part of me that I don't like when I'm arrogant. So what is it? What is something or one thing or maybe more than one thing that you have heard that was really hard to hold the space with your client? That you may have gotten triggered, you may not have. Drugs, okay, Yasmin, they were taking drugs and disclosed. So what did you mean? A client that was not ready to import herself and was expecting me to do the work for her?
Hi. Well, it was a particular client who was expecting me to tell her what to do.
Okay.
I also believe she had maybe some mental issue going on. So I was totally out of the scape of what can I do,
Okay.
which is a no-go for me.
Yes.
She was really expecting me to tell her what to do.
Uh-huh.
She was open to nothing. So when it comes to the question of what do you think you can do about it, or anything about that, it was, well, you should tell me. And no. So I think does this clarify what I meant?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Soha, I missed your hand raised. I'm sorry, my screen, I'm not seeing everything here. Soha, yes.
No problem at all. Usually before the sessions, I'm always prepared in general for any embarrassing question or something goes wrong. So I'm prepared for such situation. But it happened with me once that the client, he asked me a very embarrassing question. And I don't remember what it was, but I have the sense of humor. I turned it into humor. I don't know how did it pulled out, but this is what happens. And back in my mind that I shouldn't take anything personal. This is not about me. And this might be a good opportunity for the client to grow and develop something new. So turning it to humorous is something really I appreciate and acknowledge.
Ah, the gift of humor. The gift of humor. Yes. Yes, discloses sexual issues. Russia, thank you for saying that. So, anyone want to be more specific about sexual issues?
Actually, it was something about her dad behavior. So I was not ready to hear this, and I was shocked, and I couldn't reply to her comments. And what I have said that if you want to discuss this more, I'm ready to hear it. If you want to someone to be very specialized in the relationship, because I'm career coach, more specialized into career coaching. So I had I give her the option to continue the session with this issue, or to refer her to another coach who is more specialized in relationship.
So Rasha, for the purpose of this call, because this is the juicy stuff, can I ask, did she disclose that she was like sexually abused?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. See, even how you hesitated to say that.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So that's what we mean by we are a little uncomfortable. And like you said, it was out of your breadth and depth. You were surprised because you're a career coach and she's coming with something personal. And I just got goosebumps when you said that. So how many of you are really tuned into how your body feels when you hear something really, it has a lot of impact. And first of all, I want to say, Rasha, that client trusted you. The fact that she was able to disclose that means that you created the safe space for her to disclose. Mabruk for doing
Actually,
that.
it was not from the first session, because she was coming with the main goal with career pathway and career goals. But I felt that there is something around her family. There is something about her family. And after 2 sessions, she started to speak about this.
Yes. So after 2 sessions, you developed that much trust and rapport that she was willing to share that. That's excellent coaching. That's excellent being present for the client. And at the same time, you said that you realize, hey, this isn't something I'm very familiar with, or I'm not sure how to deal with, so I can refer out. Or you also offered her the opportunity to continue to talk. Is that correct?
Yes, I offered her the opportunity, but I told her this is not my area of expertise. So I will try to help you, but it's better to be referred to another coach, expertise in this area. So, and I referred her already for someone.
Excellent. And I want to respond to Christina, who says, I'm a psychotherapist and was taught in coaching not to bring personal history into the coaching session, but it's hard when the client feels that she's in a secure place and not to be holding. So, Christina, if I can offer another perspective. So as we know, there's so many different coaching modalities out there, and I did the coactive coaching from CTI. That was my main coaching. It's a 200-hour coaching program. And it's all about bringing the personal with the professional, because it's all about who you are is how you show up. So the philosophy behind the coactive is we're bringing all of ourselves, and the personal does come in. And I co-design this alliance with my clients in the very beginning. Even my executive clients who are coming to talk about KPIs, working with their board, all of those issues that one would imagine with an executive. And I invite them to say, there may be times, do I have your permission to ask a question? What questions are off the table for me to ask? So I build in that designed alliance in the very beginning. And I actually say that there may be times that personal issues come up. And compared to a psychotherapist or a counselor, who's going to take a really deep dive, I will talk about it in the context of how it will help you move forward in the coaching construct in terms of the goals that you're working towards or how it may be holding you back. So some of the schools of thought, training and coaching may not have emphasized that in the way that I'm describing it. And the personal does often very much comes up in the coaching process. So thank you for bringing that up. What are other things that would be hard for you if the client came to you to hear? Death, grief, self-harm. So I had a client who disclosed his gambling. He was a Muslim client. Gambling is haram. He hadn't shared it with anyone. He had lost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and couldn't tell his family. And the stress was keeping him up at night, impacting his work. I had another client who disclosed that he was gay. And again, in this culture where that's not always accepted. And how could he be authentic with himself and be who he is? What did he have to hold back? And yet he still wanted to be an authentic leader. So I'm seeing other things in the chat: self-harm, suicidal thoughts, violence with himself or his self. So what I'd like to do at this point is I want to transition us into breakout groups, because we have about 37 of us on the call right now. And I'm going to invite you to go into a breakout room where you can either speak Arabic or English. You get to choose. And I'd like you to explore this. What do you say? What do you do when a client shares something that is either against your core values, triggers you because you're so shocked by what they said, is against maybe your religious beliefs? And have a conversation among your peers. We're going to be in the breakout room for 5 minutes, and then come back and let's hear what some wisdom from this group is, because there's 36 coaches here. I think we lost a few people as soon as I said breakout room. So invite you, go ahead, choose a room. Your name is there. Again, an English room or an Arabic speaking room. Yeah, married men who are on dating sites. Client focuses on a diagnosis or mental health issue. Okay, please choose. Welcome back. So I know that was just 5 minutes. It was a short discussion.
It's very short. There's not enough time to talk.
Not enough time.
Yeah, it's
okay.
not enough
Not
time.
enough time at all.
Yes,
Yeah, we have a
we
lot
can't.
of discussion to do. Yeah.
All right. So we just scratched the surface is what I'm hearing. Okay.
Yes.
So what was the highlights of the surface scratching?
When for a question, when is it you put on your coach's hat, and when do you remove your coaching hat?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when do you refer the client to someone specialized? I mean, psychiatrist, someone like that.
Right. Because as we know, that's part of our coaching ethics, right? When to know to take off our coaching hat, refer out to a mental health specialist or another specialist.
And when to have a poker face.
When to have a poker face. Does everybody know what a poker face is? That
poker
may
face.
Not, yes, to be without expression, just there in silence.
Neutral face, yes.
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga. I love the Lady Gaga referral. Yeah, poker face أو بالترجمة بالعربية اللي هو لما الناس اللي بتلعب كوتشينة علشان ما يبينوا ايش الورق اللي في يدهم، بيكون في وجههم بوكر فيس، يعني وجههم ما في أي تعابير. اوكي، عشان اللي حواليهم ما يعرفوا انه ايش الورق اللي في ايدهم. اوكي، so it's a poker face، وجه محايد بالضبط. اوكي، وجه بدون تعابير. So this is what poker face is. So when do you have a poker face?
So Suhair, you were in the Arabic speaking group?
Yeah.
Yes. So could I hear from someone in the English speaking group? I know you only had 5 minutes. What was a snippet, a highlight? Was it just questions? Was it anyone had ideas?
Okay, in the group of English, there's someone was speaking about a client that she has, and he has drugs. So so she tried to help him, and then with questions and things like that, but she got affected. So she was worried about her reputation and things like that. So she didn't like continue with him. So this is one. And there's another lady, she said she saw the other side of her client that she didn't thought about it, but she asked really good questions to reflect about it. And one, she was saying about judgments and how us as coaches, we don't judge the clients and what they have and all of the stuff, and how we can be better in helping our clients and not feeling the shocked and being present to be open and listen to our clients. So these are what we have talked so far. And then there's one she wanted to speak, but the time passed.
That was a lot of great content in just 5 minutes. The English group must have spoke very quickly. I've not been a good manager of this time. I realize that we're almost at the top of the half hour, and I'm going to stay on, and I will continue with the slides. But if you have to leave because this was scheduled for an hour and a half, I understand. I do want to move on. However, I guess my key question about this topic of what can't you be with, and how can you still ground yourself when you're triggered by a disclosure. If you could just maybe put in the chat, what's your key learning just from this exercise? And I understand some of you have to leave. I totally respect that. Referring cases, yes. What are you learning and taking away just from this? Accepting myself and others as humans. Thank you, Sol. Iman? Yes, go ahead, Iman.
Yes, that's bringing me how much important to make to be sure to make the contract with the coachee. How it's very important to stay with the coaches in the same purpose what he want, and when he asking about something not relating, we can ask him how is that relating to what you want in this session.
Yes. Yes, you're right about that contract. And, you know, that's part of why I asked that question. What question can I not ask you? Sometimes they'll say, don't ask me personal questions. Don't ask about my personal life, my family life. Or often say, I won't know until you ask me the question. And then I'll say no. There's some great answers in the chat. Yes, cultural differences might put you in a deeper session. Christine Kennedy, you had something, you wrote something that was really good. Be aware what's happening in you and your own projections, being on the client's journey. Omar, I love the analogy, the metaphor of accepting others and listen to their story like a bedtime story. That's, yeah. Be curious, stay open. Expect the unexpected and be prepared for it. That place of unknowing, the not knowing, right? Staying curious, discernment and compassion. So I have a few more slides here. So overall, what are you taking away from today's session? What's your key learning? I know some of them might be that question I just asked, but what's your key learning from today's session, this evening session? The coffee exercise. Oh. Yes, Abul Afa. Yes, being grounded for myself, for ourselves, to be ready for the unknown. Of coach presence, an important key. Taking care of ourselves. Yes, putting the oxygen mask on ourselves first before we help someone else. Human. Someone else raised their hand. Thank you, Suhair, for saying that. Who else raised their hand? Go ahead and take yourself off mute.
Yeah, hello, Karen, everyone. My name is Roxana. So to answer your question about the key takeaway today, on a lighter note, it's heartening to see that many coaches have the same problem. I thought only I did.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. I think that's the beauty of having a coach community where we can share these things and realize, yes, we all have those same questions and concerns, and it's not just about us. And again, that's the other value of having a mentor coach. I'm plugging myself and Suhair because we're both mentor coaches, and you know, that's something a mentor coach can help you with as well, to say, yeah, we've all gone through that.
Absolutely, yeah. So it was, I mean, even though I mentioned it in a lighter note, it does give me a lot of courage to know that most people have this problem. And another key takeaway for me was the mindfulness, the grounding exercise with the fingers. That was
Great.
simply awesome. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for opening and give yourself, you know, congratulations for trying something that might have been a little uncomfortable or outside your comfort zone. Because we can't expect our clients to go outside their comfort zone if we're not able to go outside of our comfort zone. So
Yes.
to that end is our call of action. Remember, every good coaching session has an action. So based on your takeaway, what's one thing you're going to do in the next 24 hours as it relates to this core competency of being more mindful, being more present, managing your emotions? I'll come back to you in one moment, Suhair. So what's one thing? You will use the tea exercise, drink something warm, feel it with all my sensations. Excellent, Miriam. Courageous step. I'm going to suggest you go 10% outside your comfort zone with this action. Look into the PQ intelligence course. Thank you. Just to let you know, the next PQ course for coaches, it's a free course. It starts in April. So if you just go to Positive Intelligence Coach Grant, just Google it. It'll give you all the details. I think April 10th is the deadline. April 15th starts the next program. Suhair, can you put that in the chat? I don't know if you know that offhand. It's Positive Intelligence / or just contact me. I should give you my contact information. Be happy to share that as well, because I don't have that at the tip of my fingers here. This is my email. Oh, actually, it's also on my website. I have a whole thing on mental fitness, positive intelligence. So going back to the courageous step, as we know, as coaches, we're often our client's accountability buddy. Who's going to be your accountability buddy to make sure you do this courageous step? Oh, thank you, Abdullah. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Went through the program. It's going to be your accountability buddy. Are you part of a coach, cohort, a support group, a peer group? Actually, this would be a great time, Suhair and Haytham, to talk about the peer coaching that the ICF Saudi chapter is offering. And maybe some of you who aren't part of the Saudi chapter may be doing it in your own chapters. You want to just talk about that? Those are great ways to get some accountability.
If you allow me, I will jump in this. Usually in one of the initiatives that we develop in Saudi chapter, the type of sharing experience during the peer-to-peer coaching and reciprocal coaching session. We have the committee, I guess all the committee is here now. So the team is building the first phase of peer-to-peer coaching, and we will happy to have you in the Saudi chapter. This is a part of the community of practice that we are developing. Please, the team, if I miss something, you can share whatever you want. And thank you, Karen, for leaving this time for us. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Yes, because mentor coaching is important and peer-to-peer coaching is important. And just being with a group of other coaches, because sometimes coaching can be really lonely. You're with your own clients all day, and it's just great to connect with other coaches.
Yes, true. Thank you, Haytham. Thank you, Karen, for bringing this issue up. Actually, we are looking forward to launching the peer-to-peer coaching very, very soon. And we would like to encourage everyone to take the survey, because only those who have filled up the survey are considered to join the peer-to-peer coaching. So we will announce for it again in the Saudi chapter. So please, whoever are interested to join the peer-to-peer coaching group, fill up the survey in order to consider you in the group.
Excellent. Thank you, Soha. Thank you. And now for the interest of time, final questions. And I also want to give Haytham a chance to give us some announcements from the chapter. So what questions do you still have remaining? I'm happy to stay on till all the questions are answered. If you have to leave, I understand. And Haytham, could you just address the CCEU credits for those who are on here all this time? Thank you, Omar. Thank you, Shireen. Haytham, how will they get their CCEU credits?
It will be directly, will be sent to your email after completion. We will expect that we receive the confirmation from ICF about CCE within 5 days, working days. So expect next week that you will receive it, the certificate through your announcement to your email directly. And please, if you have any question, I will leave here my email. You can directly communicate me anytime. And also I post here the social media channels for the Saudi chapter to the coming announcement for our events. We'll be happy to have you, all of you, for all of our events. And thank you for being there. Karen, thank you. It's really a marvelous experience today.
Oh, thank you all. Thank you all for coming off camera, for those of you who did and were truly present. And just thank you for allowing me this opportunity to connect with peers from 12 different countries, Haytham said. And I'm just so pleased that some of you I know in the group, some of you I don't, some of you are my clients. And I just thank you so much for coming together tonight. So thank you so much. We'll be
yes,
in
please,
touch.
Haytham. Yes, please. نفتح الكاميرات هناخد صورة جماعية.
Karen, can you stop sharing the slides?
Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. Sorry. Yes, there we go. Ah, yes. We can have a lovely photograph for those who are willing to be off camera.
First. Men always ready.
شكرا جميعا. Thank you very much to everyone for staying up late. Sorry إن إحنا أخرناكم. The next session is going to be next week with the one and only Haytham al-Masri. He's going to deliver the next competency, and we're really looking forward to that. So please stay tuned. Haytham will be, inshallah, delivering the competency that we'll be talking about. What was it, Haytham? The silence? No, silence?
Active listening.
Active listening. Okay, active listening. Sorry about that. So Haytham will be talking about active listening, which will be next week on the 14th of March. Not next week, it's in 4 days.
After 3 days.
3 days. Okay, 3 days. Okay, and thank you very much. And if you have any questions, if you need any further assistance, I'm offering free mentoring session. I am a mentor, and I posted my phone number and my email. Please feel free to contact me. I'm really willing to help, especially with this point, with this competency. It's a very sensitive topic, and a lot of people will need a lot of mentoring with this point. So أنا بعرض إنه اللي محتاج أي جلسة mentoring يتواصل معي direct. وأنا تحت أمركم. حتكون جلسة mentoring مجانية, free mentoring session. Okay. If you want to talk about how to master your presence and your poker face, especially with sensitive topics, when a client suddenly brings a sensitive topic, what to do? We all need mentoring to that. Okay. So thank you, Karen. It was amazing. Thank you so much. شكرا جزيلا. عفوا, Karen. And what is the other Arabic word that you learned from me the other day?
Oh, mashi and mafi.
Mafi and mashi.
Mafi and mashi. And she's been practicing some Arabic with me, Karen. You're doing great.
Yes,
I was hoping to practice some French with you, Karen.
Oh, well, yes, we could do an exchange. So thank you all. This is such a welcoming chapter. I'm so